Hello everyone, welcome to the first week of Succession Law. I'll probably be doing this every week. I'll give you a quick video introduction to what's up for the workshop that week and a bit of a quick introduction to what's going on. This week, of course, is very much a general introductory week, so we don't have any reading or preparatory material, but it's a good time to talk about the general approach of the course and to talk through the assessment as well. One of the things to know about succession law is it's not technically very hard. The law in succession law itself is not hard. What is difficult is practice. So this is an opportunity for us to bring some more of the practical aspects into the classroom and to start talking about managing clients, interviewing clients, and those sorts of issues. So I think it's a very interesting subject from that point of view. The law itself is not very interesting at all, but the practice is very interesting. The hard part of succession law is usually the detail. It's not whether or not a will is valid, it's what a will actually means, or finding the will, or managing the distribution of the assets. So, interesting stuff. So this course is really focused around the workshops, and the workshops, of course, feed into the quizzes and to the exam. If you can, I think it's really important that you try and make the weekly meetings. If you can't, it's probably a good idea that you try and run through the workshops with a friend or a family member, particularly interviewing, if you can find someone who can help out from that point of view, because it really is a topic that needs practical engagement. So each week you'll have a video like this where I'll be introducing the topic. There will be the set reading each week, and you've also got the notes that Chris Chadian created when he created the course. I'm just filling in this for this term. So what I expect is that before you come along each week, you'll have done the readings, you'll have looked at those notes. There's been another video on this week. I'll talk about reading in law. I think there's some interesting things to be said about how reading it. There are some really interesting tips you can get about reading in the as law students. Okay, so each week I expect the preparation to be done. And then we move into the workshops. Now, there's not always a direct correspondence between the reading and the workshop itself. That's okay. Don't expect that the workshop is just testing your reading. The reading is just divvied up so that you can make sure we get through it all through the course. And you'll see as we go through that a lot of the reading is not. It's stuff that's important to think about. It's important to file away, but it's not stuff that you'd be using all the time in practice, even if you had a big succession practice. A lot of it is just stuff that, and you've seen this before in law. It's that, okay, that's interesting. I need to make a note of that if that ever comes up. Okay, so we will really be focusing, I think, and I hope you enjoy this approach. We'll be focusing on those practice skills and making the connections between what you've read and those skills. So it's not a case of the reading is irrelevant, and in fact, to get a good grade in this subject, you really need to be able to tie the two together. You need to be able to say, this is an interesting ethical or practice matter, and here's a connection to the cases or to the legislation to show, to demonstrate, to provide evidence of that work that you've done, that you're actually tying it all together. We'll talk about that approach a little bit later. But one of the problems we have occasionally with skills subjects is that students call them veggie subjects, and they think that they're just a cruise to get through. Well, I don't think that's true, and I certainly would expect you to still understand the law that underlies practice as well. I don't know if I can claim it's going to be fun, but I'm hoping it's going to be more engaging than just sort of going through dusty old cases. But we still set the bar high. We still want to know that you're really fluent in the legislation, you know how to find things, and you know from the cases what the general issues are. And what you'll see in succession law, I suppose it's probably true for most areas of law, is the cases are where things go wrong. Then not everyday practice. They're not things that happen very often, but they're when things have gone spectacularly wrong. Okay, so I'll wrap this up now. I'm just encouraging you again to come along to the online sessions. We'll probably use Zoom most of the time because its bandwidth is a bit better. But if we've got to do small group work and partner work, we'll use Collaborate, because I don't think Zoom will let you break into small groups. If you really can't make it, I encourage you to work through the workshops with someone who's a friend, family member, or a sympathetic colleague, because this is really about thinking about practice, and the reflective questions on the quizzes are really about tying those things together. So in terms of the assessment, the workshops themselves are not accessible as such. However, you'll need to write a report on very, very short report on 3 of those workshops, really reflecting and focusing on what you've learned. And those will appear on Moodle to you as quizzes, because that was the way the course was set up. And you need to pick 3 of the workshops and to write those short reflective pieces on those. The exam is also based on the workshops, but what I will do is turn the workshop questions into more concrete factual circumstances. So it's not, again, necessarily going to be involving a lot of analysis of law or legal cases, but you're going to need to know them where they're relevant, and you're really going to need to know where the legislation comes in to apply practice. And the assignment is really about the aspect of equality before the law. It's, I think, an interesting topic, looking at how in practice the rules that we have by which the law is equal to everyone and everyone's treated equally may not necessarily work in practice. So succession law has a very one model of how people organise their affairs, how they organise their rituals around death, how they grieve, how they treat family property, how they treat property in death. And it's very much sort of the Anglo approach, the Christian Anglo approach. And what the assignment will do is ask you to think about that, and to think about, is that the only way that we deal with death? Is that the only way that we deal with family property and the passing of property from one generation to the other? So I'm hoping you'll find it interesting. Really, my bar for these things is usually, would I find it an interesting assignment to do? And I would find it interesting, so I'm hoping that it will be the same for you. Anyway, this has gone on long enough. Hopefully I will see you in the first tutorial this week. Bye.